want you to know about and does not want you to even think about. Because if we their operations, the population of this planet, not just America, is going to know that it's the globalists behind it, and they're going to be stopped. So the public continues to be geopolitically and politically and culturally ignorant. We're going to be like a blind man walking off the edge of a cliff here. And there's not much time to turn this around. Now, even the London Guardian and the Russian news and the German news, they're all reporting that it's obviously Kiev, Ukraine, that has launched these attacks that have caused explosions at 2 Russian military bases close to each other, 2 air bases. The explosions rocked 2 Russian air bases far from Ukraine front line. Explosions have rocked 2 Russian air bases far from the front lines of Kiev, as Kiev appeared to launch a preemptive strike on bombers that the Kremlin has used to try to cripple the Ukrainian electrical grid. The attack on Monday is confirmed would be an unexpected operation deep inside Russia meant to disrupt the Kremlin strategy, provoking a humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine on the verge of winter. That's the London Guardian. Explosion at nuclear air base just 150 miles from Moscow opens stunning new phase of war. German news. 3 killed, nuclear-capable bombers likely damaged in Russian airfield explosions. They call that escalation next level. But before I go any further, I've got to do this or we're not going to be here. And I just want to be very, very straight with the listeners, as I always am, and very, very clear. All the corporate news and all the media you hear about me having hundreds of millions of dollars is a complete and total lie. I do not have more than $200,000 in my personal bank account, which is almost nothing when you have the expenses and bills I do. I have basically run out of money to even pay my private legal bills. And that's okay. I trust in God. And I've declared personal bankruptcy because I don't have any money. And they're lying about that in the news and saying I'm a criminal, hiding all these assets and the rest of it. So when you support us and you buy products at InfoWarsStore.com, you keep InfoWars on the air so we can appeal these false, fraudulent criminal verdicts for several years, and we're going to win. Every expert agrees. Just because they got 2 state judges that, in my view, are criminals to do this fraud and tell juries I'm guilty and say $1.5 billion and all the rest of this doesn't mean that the appellate courts are going to go along with it. They can't, or it sets a very dangerous precedent. And so the money you buy products for at InfoWarsStore.com does not go to these people. They're acting like this operation already belongs to them. They're acting like they get the money that comes from this operation. That's not the case. We're in Chapter 11, Subchapter 5 with Free Speech Systems because it had been pushed to the wall and didn't have the funds. We went in emergency reorganization to keep the operation going indefinitely. Okay, and it's going well, despite what the corporate media says, because we've been honest. It's all out there in the open. So that keeps the crew employed in this important operation here, because you're buying products at InfoWarsStore.com. I have foregone over the last year being paid, but I'm going to have to go ahead and demand to be paid now because by free speech in the bankruptcy because I can't pay my personal bills. So that's going on. So when you buy products at InfoWarsStore.com, you're supporting InfoWars and the operation and keeping me operating. Separately, the personal bankruptcy in the next few weeks will be filed. It will be public. It's already filed. And my assets will then be put on display. And you're going to see a Hellcat Dodge car and a couple watches and nothing else. My furniture's cheap. The few televisions I have are like $2,000. I don't have all this stuff they say. Almost everything you see in the news is a total lie, ladies and gentlemen. They put on the news, here's his house. It's not even my house. They just, you know they lie, but it's next level. Like when Twitter allowed people to say that James Woods Sieg Heiled, and he didn't Sieg Heil, they just made it up. He's now suing them. So they just make up whatever they want, and the level of lies even shocks me. So it's very simple. I am in your hands. This operation is in your hands. Plus, we have great products you need. If you don't go to InfoWarsStore.com and do your Christmas shopping at InfoWars Store, we are not going to be here. because we have to pay a lot of the money that comes in to buy future products to come in. More isn't coming in for 2 or 3 months. You notice we're out of T-shirts. You notice we're out of a lot of items. I told you this. Everything we're selling